trying to vlog more. I was watching a vlog and they were putting up their Christmas tree because it's December, and I was thinking about how when you have a family, like getting older. Let me start this over. I was watching a vlog of them decorating their place for Christmas, and it reminded me how I've always wanted to do that in my own apartment, but I never have because it felt kind of like a betrayal. It's dramatic, but I don't know, maybe other people who have really close families will understand me. So, like, if you grew up in a home where you were really close with your family, whether it's like because you had a big family or you had a really small family, or maybe you were just like, I don't know, an isolated family, it can be positive or negative, honestly. In my situation, it's more positive, but in other situations, this could be something that was isolating, and so you're really close with your family because you guys couldn't depend on anyone else, or there was no one else. Maybe you were the only people that had moved to that place. Maybe you moved far away from your family for whatever reason, so it felt kind of lonely, but you guys stuck together, and it just made you really close. And that part is good. Being close with your family is good, but the isolation was bad. All of that to say, like, the different circumstances surrounding why you're close with your family, they all play a part. But the main point is that as you get older and begin to build a life for yourself in the style that you want, sometimes you might feel like somehow, it's hard to explain, but if you felt it, you'll understand what I'm saying. Like, somehow you feel like you're betraying your family by doing certain things that you've never done, and it doesn't even have to be a big deal. So, like, the perfect example is why I started this conversation, and it's because I saw that and I thought about how I've always wanted to decorate like my apartments and stuff for like Halloween and Christmas, basically. And I didn't do Halloween or whatever, but Christmas, I'm kind of determined to decorate for Christmas. And for some reason, I thought about putting up a fake tree because I'm not going to do a real tree. But I wanted to do like putting up a fake tree, like one of those that come in like a tube and then you fold it down. I wanted one of those. And I remember for a split second, I was like, oh man, I feel like decorating in here. I never went and got a tree for my family's house, and suddenly I want to get a tree for myself. But the thing is, no one in my family would be like, how dare you get a tree for that apartment and you never got a tree for the house? It was never a big deal. Christmas was never really a big deal in our house. We've never had a tree. We had a Christmas corner, especially when we were little. As we got older, the presents, they get smaller. Or the presents are coming from us to each other, so we, bring them down from wherever we're coming from and stuff like that. But the tree and decorating, I think a couple years, we used to put lights in the living room, and I really liked how that looked indoors, but we've never decorated the outside. We've never really decorated the inside except for having those lights. So, and some stockings sometimes. I think the stockings are still up. Like something big and grandiose, like a tree. For a minute, I was just like, I never thought to get a tree from, for the house. How come I'm getting a tree for myself? And I know if I took a picture and showed everyone, they'd just be like, wow, that looks great. Like, nobody would even be upset. But for some reason, I had a split second where I was like, I felt like I betrayed the house. So, I mean, you might take that in your own ways. Like, it might not be the same, but I just thought it was kind of funny where, you get so used to how you do things because it's all you know. And then when you're trying to make your own life, there's things that might give you hesitation where you're like, oh, should I do that? We've never done that before. But if it's not a bad thing, something as harmless as getting a tree, I'm like, why not, I found that quite amusing, but it also left room for that conversation where I was thinking about being really close to your family. Sometimes it can come off maybe to other people as you guys are just, I don't know, I guess the word I used earlier, isolated, like you don't reach out. And it could be for various reasons. Maybe your parents, like if you're the kid in the house, maybe it's because your parents had gotten hurt by their friends and your extended family, like things have happened and they just really want to make sure they have a secure space for, their kids and themselves because they're just basically tired of the bullshit. So that's one part. We really don't know. Like, you'll never really know what your parents were going through. Like, especially if you had parents like mine, because I'm older, and my parents were already older when they had me. There's five of us, and I'm way down at the back. By the time I came around, my parents were a lot older, and a lot had happened. Think about all that has happened in your 20s. Just give it a 1-2. Just give it a once over in your head and let it gloss through. So much happened, and you probably not even friends with any of those people anymore. Some of them you would like to still be friends with. Some of them you're like kind of still friends with. Like, you reach out every once in a while, but you're not nearly as close as you used to be. Maybe you probably got like 2 or 3 real good friends left, like people you actually would invite to your house if you know, felt like you could invite company. And your parents probably went through the same thing. Like, even though the times are different. And then the 70s, that means they were in their 20s in the 70s. And you know it was wild. You just know it was wild. It was basically the early 2000s on steroids. You just think about that, and maybe that's why, you guys are kind of isolated or separated from a lot of people, maybe even from when you were little. Life takes you places, and sometimes that's why families end up in their own little bubble. That's a good way to put it. Like, you might end up in your own little bubble, and it's a happy bubble. Like, if it was like mine, we were never in a position as children to feel like, God damn, life. They kept a lot of things to themselves, and that included why we weren't around people anymore. As you get older, you start to put 1, 2, and 3 together. When you get into school, you start to notice other people who can do things and have things, and who they have around, and you start to ask yourself, how come we don't, be around people like that? This, that, and the third. We're always around the same people. We had like a few staple people that my parents would trust, and it was nothing like when I was really little. When I was really little, I mean, they had people everywhere, and then it all changed, and I think we had like 1, 2, 3 families that we dealt with and talked to on a regular basis. We don't really talk like that, and it's kind of because of that. Like, we kind of just got into our own bubble, and that's how it extends. And as you get older and you're trying to like figure out how to live your life, you have to, it's not just about, putting up a Christmas tree and then realizing that, oh, we've never had a Christmas tree, who do I think I am? It can be something bigger than that, where it becomes reaching out to people that you used to be really close with when you were little, because maybe you want less of a bubble of an existence for your family, like the family you create with your partner, and if you have kids, or with your, whatever. It's like, maybe you start to think, okay, well, it's not that my parents did anything wrong. They did what's right for them and what was right for us, because I feel like I grew up safe and happy. So it was not a bad thing, but it also left me room. They always had room for you to make your own decisions, especially as you get older. And so I'm like, maybe I want more people around, but I'm so basically conditioned, and I kind of like being alone. Like, I really like being alone, but I also very much like the idea, and when I get to see my close friends, like after we hang out, I feel great. I never feel better when I see my friends and like listen to them and how they're doing and stuff, and maybe even share what I'm doing, but like mostly just being in their presence, helping them with something, just being around them. That's always nice. It just makes me feel like this is nice. So I think I would change a couple things. Like, I'm going to put up a tree. I might have more holiday parties. We started actually having holiday parties even when I was still living at home with my dad and stuff. We started having, me and my sisters, we started putting on holiday parties. We started with a Halloween party one year. That was a lot of fun. Everybody came in a little costume. I was Mr. Mistopheles. We started doing things like that, and it's not like our dad stopped us, I think he liked hearing us have a good time, because he would like be in his room. That was that. And I think you take all those lessons and you get older and you let all these people in your life and you start thinking, oh, I'm betraying the family creed, you know? And, you know, it doesn't have to, you don't have to think about it that way. I don't know. It's a big full circle, but I just feel like, you know, I'm at a point where I want a tree. I want to have more, like, communal gatherings. I want to have more outings. I feel like we're in a time now where it's kind of back to the basics, and it feels community wise, maybe because I'm older and I'm trying to find my own, like, my own safe way to navigate. And it feels like sometimes I have to think about the 90s, and when I was young, and like how my parents moved. It's going to be different. We're in two different circumstances in life. One, my parents had like 4 kids. So, and then my younger sister came along, right? So then it became 5. Parents got 5 kids. They're in this country by themselves. Like that, like it was a lot for them. They have their community, and that's really it. I have my actual blood family here. So, you know, I just think I need to do things a little different, and it doesn't have to feel like a betrayal to the house. Because no one's going to think of it that way. No one in my house is going to think of it as a betrayal. They're going to just be like, well, yeah, you know, you got to do what you have to do. Well, you have to do what's best for you. That was the mantra of the house. But, you know, that doesn't stop you from feeling like you're doing something that's against the grain of what you know. But it's not. At the same time, it's not, because like I said, when we were younger, there was always people around. So it's kind of just like going back to that, you know, getting out of the familial habits and doing something for yourself. There's nothing wrong with doing something for yourself. And if you're not on the, you know, good spectrum, on the good end of the spectrum, maybe you're on the more isolating, seeing a little more negatively, you're feeling a little more suffocated spectrum. Even if you're happy with your family, you feel like you can't step outside of that family box because your family will have an adverse reaction to it. I hope you can find a way to basically let them know that you have to do this. Like, if you feel like it's really pressing on you, where you're like, I don't find anything wrong with how my family does things, but there's this thing I really want to do for myself. I think it's important that you do find that little corner of yourself that doesn't belong to basically your family, without having to isolate yourself from your family. Now, if your family turns very toxic because you go against the grain, like maybe it's one of those families where everything's great as long as you're doing what they like, that's the decision you have to make for yourself. Are you going against the grain just to try things? I don't see anything wrong with that. Is it negatively impacting you as you go against the grain, but you're doing it anyway because your family is against it? Like, then you might want to think about it. But again, ultimately, it's up to you and how you want to live your life. Because as long as you're out here living it, like, what's anybody going to say to you? They can say a lot of things, but I mean, they can't physically stop you unless they like break the law, you know, by like kidnapping you or something. So I got dark. Don't not live your life because of your own worries about what your family would think. That's the lesson for today. Bye.